People who are 40 plus and happy with their life. What is your advice to people in their 20s? I'm 40 years old, and I have 3 pieces of advice for anyone in their 20s. 1. Accept that perfection doesn't exist. Your relationships will have problems, your car will break down, someone else will anyways have a better phone, a newer car, or a bigger house than you, no matter where on the social ladder you stand. Constantly chasing perfection will keep you permanently stressed. That doesn't mean you should not try to better your life, just know that, if you expect perfection you will never be satisfied. 2. Pay attention to your diet and health. I have been working out at least 4 times per week, since my mid-20s. I'm fitter, healthier and look younger than almost everyone else my age. 3. Don't stop doing the things you love. Even though I have a wife, kids, job etc. I still make time to play video games, draw, write stories, read comics, play basketball, listen to music, etc. There is no reason to become a miserable old bastard. Edit. Wow. This has blown up way more than I expected. Thanks for the awards guys. It's nice to know my advice can be useful to others. Edit 2. So, quite a few people have asked how I find time to fit in all these hobbies. As I said, I have to make the time. Apart from working out, which I do at 6 AM, before everyone else wakes up, I'm not doing these things every day. I only game on the weekend, if I get the chance. I read ebooks on my phone. When I'm killing time in the day, I may buy a comic 2 to 3 times a year and I can usually find a few hours in the week to draw. I still make time to chill out with my wife in the evenings, and do things with kids. I just fit my hobbies in between them. I also don't watch much TV or go out, but that's just me. Yes to all your points, but very much to #3. Don't let anyone tell you you're too old to enjoy something. We all grow out of hobbies, but the things that give you joy now will very possibly always give you joy. Don't forget that feeling. And sure, when you get married and start a family, you're not going to have the time for all night gaming anymore, but that doesn't mean you can't do your hobbies at all, or even start new ones. When I was mid-30s and knee-deep in a couple of toddlers, I decided I wanted to learn how to draw. I really needed something for me, and a pencil and paper were easy to put down if I had to kiss any boo-boos or feed my kids. This has led to a bunch of different art mediums, stained glass, linocuts, papercraft, and a source of joy, accomplishment, curiosity, and friendships for me. Relax more. Don't get angry over little things. Relax and don't get overly angry. While others talk about material things or experiences, the real lesson is to accept that things won't always go the way you want them to, and that's okay. Didn't marry your perfect spouse? That person doesn't exist. Align expectations to reality and appreciate those who love you for who they are. Or find new people. Didn't buy the perfect car? Oh, well, it still gets you where you're going. Define your criteria for the next one and work towards it. Didn't get the perfect house? Probably not. But it's yours, and you can fix it. Didn't get that promotion? Don't be so sure it would have worked out the way you think it would have. Vacation wasn't perfect? Are you sure about that? Or were your expectations too high? Point is, relax, enjoy the ride, work to your goals, but remember none of it matters if you can't enjoy it along the way. Edit. Thanks for the awards. M40. This is my input. 1. Everyone is focused on themselves to care too much about their opinion of you. So duck what they think. 2. Social media is only an illusion. 3. Zero debt is an amazing feeling. Think twice before dropping that down payment on that fully loaded 2020 Dream Mobile that offers nothing but looks and appreciates value quickly. 4. Falling out of love is perhaps more powerful than falling in love. 5. Use up all of your vacation time / sick time at work. 6. Don't lose sight of the hobbies you enjoyed as a child. They will help you live as you grow older. 7. Family is not necessarily blood, but instead who you would bleed for. 8. There are just as much benefits to being a night owl as there are to being an early bird. 9. Forgive yourself first before forgiving others. 10. Do not be a doormat in submission, but hold the door open in kindness. Took me way too long to learn #5. I always thought not taking any time off made me a good employee. Turns out that taking time for myself and giving myself much needed breaks made me a better employee. Who knew? Get a regular exercise routine going and stick to it like your quality of life depends on it, because it does. I exercised a lot in my early 20s, then stopped. After having a kid, while in my mid 30s, I'm trying to get back into shape and doing a lot of weightlifting. I can't believe I stopped for so many years. Find an exercise you like. I hated treadmills and bikes, but love my rowing machine because I can watch TV. I didn't really like home gyms, but I'm enjoying doing an entire routine with a barbell. It is way easier to keep up exercising if you find something you enjoy, or at least don't hate. I also used a one-on-one trainer until quarantine started, who pushed me and kept me motivated. Expensive, but it was totally worth it for me. I was a raging alcoholic in my 20s and thought I would never recover from it. I never found a real job using my first degree or my master's. Part of it was because I was always drunk. Part of it was the job market at the time. I went back to school in my 30s and found something I like a whole lot more. Now, I'm married, nearly 10 years sober, and have a great job. My point is, if you end up on the wrong path, or don't like where you are, there's always time to turn around and change it. Too many people just storm they're stuck where they are, and stuck with the issues they have. I'm not sure who said it, but once I read this online. Don't cling to a mistake just because you spent a lot of time making it. And I think about it all the time. Kind of relates to what you said. Take care of your teeth. This is the only set you're ever going to have, and you don't want to neglect them and mess them up like I did. I've got crap tons of fillings which don't last forever and need replacement. A filling isn't as good as the real thing, and filled teeth can break, requiring crowns. I have two and it sucks. Brush and floss thoroughly every single day without exception. Hell, get an electric toothbrush. See the dentist regularly. Ditch the sugary drinks. Yep. I always thought I had great teeth. I went for a checkup, got a regrade, chiz was tight. I put off going for anything, checkup, cleanings, etc. for 4 years. Next appointment, root canal. Apparently my molar was so bad I should been in constant pain at some point. Honestly, I never felt a thing. No pain since my prior appointment. I also had to get a filling done. That sucked way worse than the root canal. Root canals are relatively painless until you get the bill. Everything you get becomes something you have. Learned how to be happy having things instead of getting them. Edit kinda took off. Thanks for all the awards. I appreciate having them. This is true. I bought a very big piece of exercise equipment, 6-post power rack, and I just sold it. Even though I loved the thing, I sold it because I realized I was paying rent on it that far exceeded the cost of just selling it and buying it back later when I could actually afford to keep it. It was becoming a burden and restricting my options in life, and I wanted the flexibility back. While I had it, I was paying to store it and move it when traveling, paying increased rent to put it in my garage, etc. In a way, everything you own ends up owning you. Make sure it is all meaningful and worth keeping around. Start saving now for your retirement. Avoid debt. Floss daily. Exercise daily. Wish this was higher up. I could have set up a %6 pre-tax retirement account in my early 20s. I wasted 10 plus years and now will have to work another 10 years to make up for lost time. It takes a little adjustment, but 6%, 10% pre-tax invested in the market will compound and add up to very good chunk of change by retirement. Plus, as you move on from entry level to higher paying jobs, you'll have established a healthy financial habit that you can practice until retirement and live a lot more comfortably. It's not a race. Stop comparing yourself to others. Just because they did things sooner than you doesn't mean they're happier or better. Try to start good habits. It is a little rough at first, but in a few years it will be second nature. Do this with things like cooking, cleaning, saving money and self-care. It is okay to not like someone. It is also okay to have someone not like you. People are going to not like you for no reason. That is okay. It's a them issue and not a you issue. Don't be in it to everyone and give them reason to dislike you, but also know that you are under no obligation to put up with someone else's bad friendship. There is no shame in seeing a mental health professional. It's not a race. Stop comparing yourself to others. Just because they did things sooner than you doesn't mean they're happier or better. I agree, life's not a checklist. Don't try to live under other people's expectations. When I was 22, an older gentleman asked me how old I was and then told me, Chad 303, when you are twice that age, you'll be twice the man you are today. I almost considered it a slight in that moment, but time has proven him wise. Here I am, twice that age, and, in my humble estimation, twice the man than I was then. I believe this, chiefly because I have learned that kindness is not a weakness, humility serves you better than pride, and cruelty is a fool's game. Also exercise, so you are not also physically twice the man you were. Don't put yourself in ridiculous amounts of debt trying to portray a certain image. You'll spend your entire life trying to get out of the hole you dug, or you'll have to declare bankruptcy. Set aside enough money to cover 3 to 6 months of expenses for emergencies just like now. Moreover, save now for your retirement years. It doesn't require much, and if you have it taken directly from your paycheck you won't be inclined to not pay yourself first. Take care of your body. Exercise to maintain a healthy weight and good cardiovascular health. As you get older, it's much harder to maintain these. Enjoy the days of your youth without going overboard. There is nothing wrong with having a good time, yet if you are always waking up wondering what happened last night, why you can't remember how you spent so much money, or you always have a hangover, you should tone it down a bit. Don't take advice or criticism as a personal attack. Most times the people who care about you have observed behavior in you which is off-putting, doesn't reflect who you really are, or could be, or would make you a more rounded person. Don't put yourself in ridiculous amounts of debt trying to portray a certain image. You'll spend your entire life trying to get out of the hole you dug, or you'll have to declare bankruptcy. This, a million times over. Once you get over the need to impress others, it's not only freeing financially, it's so freeing emotionally as well. Live life for you. People aren't nearly as concerned with what you have and what you do as you think they are. It's never too late to start again. All in my 20s I thought I couldn't just restart my career or dump a useless boyfriend or go back to school because I was already on a certain trajectory. Made my choices, now I gotta make the best of it. That's total bullshit. You have no idea how incredibly young you are and how much time you have to do whatever you want to do. When I figured this out, I found the man of my dreams, had a kid in my late 30s. Dropped my entire career in my late 40s and starting a new one at 50, and it's awesome. Edit. Oh my. I had no idea my post would be so inspirational or that so many people needed to read it. Thank you everyone for the kind words and updates and awards. I'm so excited for everyone taking a leap into the great unknown. You got this. And if you are sad or upset or frustrated with life, that's okay too. You have time and it will pass. You have no idea what comes next, and you have so much time to explore. I'm still figuring things out. This is good advice. I'm 40 and have reset twice. Starting something new can be scary, but very rewarding. I left a job last year for a different company, and I'm so glad that I did. I took a pay cut for a quality of life improvement. I've been much happier and my stress levels are pretty non-existent. Go have an adventure of a lifetime. Don't put it off. Make plans for your money. Stay out of debt. You don't need that new car, watch, handbag, etc. Material items are not worth your sanity. Have a 3 to 6 month emergency fund. Don't waste time on anyone who disrespects you. Have a backbone, but don't be rude. Not everything needs your reaction. Find someone who you can spend endless time with. Talk about ideas, not people. Above all, fuck what anyone thinks. I'll be 41 this year. Don't waste time on anyone who disrespects you. Not everything needs your reaction. I'm just realizing this at 25 years old. Especially during these times, many toxic people are sitting at home stewing in their own thoughts. Family tried starting drama with me this past weekend over trivial things, and at this point, I told them they could all mind their own business. I don't need that type of stress or negativity in my life anymore. Don't fall for the trap that your life needs to be one long narrative that you should be building. Life is best when it's a bunch of happy moments that just happen to be connected. Don't try to make your life into a novel. Make it a book of poems. I needed this. Thank you. I always compare my life to a movie, and it stresses the hell out of me because reality is never like it. But I guess this is life after all. I'm 46, and here's what I know. 1. Money is important, but it's not the end all be all. It will not listen to your problems or hug you when you need it to. Watch your weight, your blood pressure, and do not smoke. 75% of my patients that have the most serious diagnosis have at least one of these factors. 3. Comparison will rob you of joy. Be happy for others, but don't feel you need to be like them. 4. Let go of the little things. Stress will kill you. 5. Chase your dreams. Life goes by so fast. You don't want to be 80 years old and regretting not traveling, pursuing your pain, etc. 6. You cannot change someone, whether a friend or a partner. Their faults will not get better, and you cannot rescue them. Don't waste your life on toxic people. 7. Make a point of performing kind acts for others. It will greatly enrich your life. Now, go get your life. Edit. Thanks for the award, stranger. It's my first. 6 hits hard. Had a big talk with my GF of 4 years yesterday. Long talk short is was trying to change her to be who I want by encouraging certain activities or asking her to do things nicely, but she is very independent and doesn't like being told what to do. Obviously there is a lot more to it I won't go into here, but it breaks my heart to know this probably won't work out because of that and the issues stemming from it. I think I just had this ideal image of her, and because of her 1000 amazing qualities I love, I tried too hard for her to grow into that. Now I know it was just me wanting her to change for me, which she won't do, unless she chooses to. Now we are just biding time, and faking it, until COVID goes away, because we have no choice. Very sad day for me today. I'm nearly 40, and not very happy with my life. My advice for people in their 20s would be to focus on the important stuff. That's where I failed. Don't put off life. That's where I also failed. I focused on building a solid financial base and saving a ton of money. Here I'm at 40, and I'm financially secure probably for life. If I lost my job I could flip burgers and live the same lifestyle I've been living. But I also have no one in life. If I was abducted by aliens today it'd be days or weeks before anyone missed me. No one on the entire planet really knows me. I get gifts from my family for Christmas or my birthday or whatever, and it's stuff that relates to things I enjoyed as a small child because that's how they know me. I never pursued any relationships for the past 20 years because I was focused on financial stuff. I can't recall the last time I went on a vacation that wasn't visiting my grandparents. At my age I will probably never be married and will probably never be a father like I want to be. I'd give up all the financial security and career success I have to have someone I love here in quarantine with me. I'd act up my life and I know it. Don't ignore relationships. Homie, if you're financially secure and know what you want, go get that thing now. Who cares that you're 40? Chris Rock said it best. Now, people tell you life is short. No, it's not. Life is long, especially if you make the wrong decisions. Edit. The point is, you've got time. Don't kill yourself trying to do it all now. What I also take away from this, life feels short if you're actually living and having a good time. Conversely, if you're miserable and stuck in life, life feels never ending and you're only waiting till it gets dark forever. When I was in college, I had the chance to go to Europe, but I parted because I had to work at a warehouse. I picked staying at a part-time warehouse job over seeing the world. When I finally went abroad in my 30s, it changed my perspective about everything and everyone. Go to another country that is far away and different than your own. Cries in COVID-19. This whole thread is wholesome AF. I'm 32 but I wish I would have spent more of my 20s listening to advice of slightly older people rather than trying to prove that I could figure it out on my own. Imagine how much energy I could have saved. Agreed. I'm only 28, but my advice would be accept help. Don't be too proud. Don't be insulted. Don't be scared to let people get involved in your life. Took me ages to get my driver's license, to get treatment for my mental illness, to accumulate household things, washing machine, furniture, etc. Even to learn things you're just magically supposed to know that I missed as a kid due to chisty upbringing, changing a tire, what chemicals are okay for what users, etc. I look back and remember instances where people wanted to help and teach me, but I turned them down. Don't be unburied, take the help with thanks. Figure out what is important to you in life. A shocking amount of people never do this. The sooner you do, the better off you will be. It is important to me to be able to take care of myself and have enough left over to support those I love. If I'm doing that, it is hard to get down, or be worried, or care what other people think of me, etc. I'm still going to pursue my career and other interests. I just don't have anything emotionally riding on their successes, at least not in relation to my own sense of self-worth. I'm not doing a fun job or an inspiring job. I'm doing one that pays the most for the least work. For me, that's okay, because with the excess time, I can spend it with people I love. With the excess money, I can help pay for my friends who didn't get to go to college to do it now. I can take time off at a drop of a hat to fly across country and help in a family emergency, etc. There is the phrase live so God can use you. I'm not religious, but I do value the idea of setting your life up so when an opportunity to do something that you care about, that matters, arises, you're in a position to do it. Figure out what you want for yourself and what you want for others. It will make planning and achieving it easier. Edit. As a lot of people are asking me what I do, I work in tech. Probably unsurprisingly, I basically decided to get a degree in math instead of English because one had much better job prospects. Though I do like analytics and solution architecture and all that jazz, I definitely use that time to read the Iliad for the 4th time if it paid the same. Also, to be clear, I'm not advocating for this path, just that it is important to understand the path you want and make sure you're on it. It is just as important to not work a job you hate, to make time for your parents, etc. I've worked nearly 30 jobs in my life, with kids, construction, lumber yards, tour guide, nursing homes, you name it. I'm good at compartmentalizing and just really don't mind what I work on. So getting the most return on my work is a clear metric to focus on. If I got a lot of my sanity and sense of satisfaction from my job, I'd 100% work with kids or in education instead. All jobs are work, even those that are doing what you love. A great way to start to lose your love for a thing is to mix it up with deadlines, money, and clients who have different visions than you for your love. Now, it's another thing to have a job you actively hate that sucks your will to live. But there's nothing wrong with having a job that you tolerate, that has highs, lows, and just lots of work you have to get through that is seen as work. And then with the rest of your time, live your life the way you want to live. The biggest regret my dad has was not starting some sort of savings for retirement when he was in his 20s. He didn't start putting money into his 401k until he was 30 or so. If you don't have access to a 401k, look into getting an IRA or something you can just chip something into every week or month. Get into the habit of paying yourself first. I did that all through my 20s and I didn't miss one dime of the money. It gave me a great jump on saving for retirement and a down payment for a house. Wear sunscreen. Wow, this was amazing. 70, born and living in Australia. Very middle class all my life, but never a landowner, always renting, generally very happy and satisfied. No need to be materialistic if you live in a fair and civilized nation. No need to marry, nor have children. No need to prove yourself to anyone. Just accumulate many skills and talents which will not go out of fashion. In my case, science studies, incomplete B.Sc. Counseling and group work, many kinds, business and admin skills, technology, including many academic and computer areas. Happily married, boringly normal for the last 25 years. Internet, technology, politics, etc. are so interesting, thrilling. Hey wow, that's so wonderful to hear about your rental lifestyle. I've been renting for almost 20 years and have noticed the benefits. There are not many models to follow with this particular living style, so it's always great to hear someone advocate the choice. My best to you. Experiences over materials items. You're not going to remember that pair of shoes, or that expensive item, or if you do, the memory won't compare to that awesome adventure you went on, or that great night out. Buddy of mine's grandma used to always say to him, "It's not what you had, it's what you did." Always thought that was excellent advice, though I might add, it's maybe not even what you did, it's who you were. Lots of nuns go out on great adventures, but are unpleasant to all around them. Remember to be kind, to listen and to learn. Edit, added it up. I hesitate to give advice, being unqualified to do so. Instead, here are some points that may or may not be worthy of consideration. 1. Time is very short, and as you get older it speeds up more and more. 2. Time is more important than money. In theory, you could end up a billionaire, but nobody is ever a time billionaire. Rich or poor, you're gonna get maybe 100 years at the absolute maximum, and probably not that much. 3. There will be several versions of you as you walk your path, but one version that kind of colors all the other versions. This version you could call the real you. It pays to spend time figuring out who that real you is. 4. You will have to deal with people. Learn how to leave them happy to have been in your presence, and you will not lack for friends and loved ones. 5. Speaking of loved ones, just because someone is a blood relative, it doesn't mean they're worth a choose. If your parent, sibling, or child is a complete a-hole unworthy of your attention, don't waste further time on them. 6. Find something you love to do, and do that. Do it every day. It doesn't matter if you make money at it, or get recognition because of it. Do it like Henry Darger did his writing and drawing, and like Vivian Maier did her photography. Do good work. It is its own reward. 7. I'm a geezer, 64 years old. It does not have to suck being old. I think it's ducking great, for many reasons. If you're ever in my town, drop by and get on my lawn. You/Cletistwold. I hope that, if I reach 64 I will be as cool as you are for real. Honestly, if you want more career satisfaction, be as positive as possible at work. I mean it. I'm cynical by nature, and thought everyone around me loved my sarcastic one-off comments. Every meeting I would demonstrate biting wit at the ridiculous corporate bullshit being peddled. If there was failure I was there, to point at it and laugh, and if success I was always there ready to keep it real for folks. Apparently my attitude and sense of humor were not as appreciated as I thought. Then, disaster struck at work, a few years ago, and my skills were needed more than ever. Now mind you, I had been parred over a couple of times for promotions. I was salty about that because, and I'm being honest here, I was a really good candidate, and I'm regarded quite well in my industry. I was stunned at missing out, and my dissatisfaction was not kept out of sight. Well, back to the disaster. For some reason I took this opportunity to shut up and be a positive team member. This particular problem, not virus related, would have allowed me to sit at home, get paid, and do nothing, while everything got sorted. A paid 2-week vacation without dipping into tonus. Let the suits sort it out, while I laugh at their awkward attempts to right the ship, snickering with co-workers via personal emails. I was really looking forward to pointing out inconsistencies and ambiguous language in their directives. I was practically giddy with excitement with the prospect of watching them fall on their faces. Instead I put on my big boy pants, went to work, walked in the boss office and politely asked if there was anything she needed. For 2 weeks I worked my ass off, did everything I was asked, kept my pie hole shut. God, were there opportunities for serious humor. I took a lot of initiative, and throughout I was positive and pleasant. At meetings I would offer constructive comments, take notes, and follow up on attempts even if I wasn't asked. I had become the dreaded tryhard. Then the calls came from everywhere in the organization. How do we do X? Can I do Y? Mind you, in the past I would have provided a slightly sarcastic reminder of my scope of duties which didn't include doing their job too. Instead I was positive and cheerful. I was happy to help them get through the crisis. After the disaster subsided, I did not revert back to Mr. Point out how stupid everything is, and kept a positive and cheerful demeanor. I kept my comments to myself, and went home, and shared my list of comments I could have made with family. I noticed the more positive I became, the more people seemed to want to work with me, and the more responsibilities my boss heaped upon me. So I kept at it. And not one, but 2 promotions came, with significant raises, and now I'm in a position that I really enjoy. Had I only figured this out in my 20s, I might have gotten where I'm more quickly. One caveat: if your work is a suckfest, don't be afraid to move on, with a positive farewell email, and pointing out how much everyone meant to you. TL. Doctor, be more positive at work. I was going to say as a whole, not just in one's career. Think before you act. That includes in-person actions, emails, and texts. You don't have to respond to things immediately. If you are lucky enough to have the love of a good woman, support her and she will support you. 2 heads are better than 1. I don't know what I'd do without my S. Oh. Never take one day for granted. Get out there into the world and enjoy it. I'm 45 this year and plenty of my peers didn't make it and wasted their shot. This is so sweet. Thanks a lot. I do have an amazing girlfriend who supports me a lot and helped me get my finances in order. I support her too, of course. I haven't seen her in 2 months because although we do not live far from another, there is a country's border between us and we can't cross it right now. But we do all we can to stay in touch and make things as natural as we can. That we are making it through this time with relative ease without feeling like our relationship has become less important now that we can't hang out proves to me that this is a real thing. Thanks for your reminder to never take this for granted. Fail to plan. Plan to fail. 1. Identify your goals and values. Don't confuse a step towards your goal, job, for the goal, peace of mind, happiness. 2. Don't fight reality. Reality is all there is. Don't waste time wishing it was different. Don't invent things that are not true. Reality is enough just as it is. 3. Make choices based on your new framework, goals and reality. Small daily choices are super important. Go to therapy. Figure out what your insecurities are, why you have them, and how to deal with, so that they don't define the rest of your life. Talk about your issues from childhood and your teens. Yay, everyone has issues even in their 20s. If you don't do it now, you will make decisions based on or driven by those issues, and that will put you on a path you may not like. Yup, it takes years to sort through baggage and failed coping mechanisms. Deal with it while you're younger, so first of all, you have time to overcome them gradually, and second, so you don't have to keep dealing with that shiz the rest of your life. Maintain your friendships. In 20 years you will be so grateful for those people who saw you through marriages, children, illness and health. People who will go for a trip with you, love your kids, remember you as a young person. Friends are essential, but they require work. Don't be alone just because you don't want to be the person who reaches out to others. Alternatively, really consider who the people around you are and if they are right for you. Are you hanging out with people because you like them or because you don't want to be alone? Do you actually like talking to these people, or do they stress you out? Are they improving your life? Etc. Wear a ducking condom. I have a feeling you either have a kid or an STD, or both. I didn't have kids. Long story short, we get to sleep in whenever, have more savings than average, a lot of time to dedicate to our fur babies. I just turned 30 and I feel so happy to not have or want kids. Never really had the desire. I feel like I can be 30 until I'm like 45 because of this decision. How people that are less than wealthy can decide to have kids is beyond me. And the stress, my god, the stress. I'm sure it is rewarding, but damn. I was 8. 5 lbs. My brother was 11 and had to be folded / almost broken shoulders. I have narrow hips. My BF is a twin. PA. I'm financially happy, so my advice in this regard is to not use your credit card unless you are 100% sure you can pay it off that month and it's not a burden. Don't go into debt. I'm also happy with my children who are polite, intelligent, and happy themselves. My advice there is to always be true to your word with them and always say please and thank you. I'd add on to the credit piece too. If you have the self-control and can ensure you pay off the balance monthly, pay everything you can with a rewards card. I pay my balance weekly to make sure I avoid any interest penalties and have used my rewards points for flights to Vegas, San Antonio, and Seattle in the past 3 years. Don't marry someone because you think it's something you have to do. The same goes with having children. I've done neither, even though my family has always hounded me to, and I'm incredibly happy with where I'm at. I can't think of how miserable I'd be making commitments like those just to make others happy. Put yourself first, people. On the topic of marriage, do not marry someone that you cannot sit down and have an honest conversation about financial budgeting. If you are not on the same page, the resentment over money will fester until something breaks. While you are at it, discuss equitable division of responsibilities. Everything from who does what chore to who contributes money. Just because you work all day doesn't mean you are off the hook from household chores, and just because you stayed home with the kids all week doesn't mean you get the weekend off. 3 hobbies. 1 to keep you in shape, 1 to keep you creative, 1 to make you money. Do you have any examples? I like to exercise and dance, so that keeps me in shape. I'm having a hard time thinking of a creative hobby I'd enjoy. Maybe play guitar or paint. As for hobbies to make you money, I have no idea. Close street thing I can think of would be whittling wood to make sculptures that I could possibly sell. And thanks for the wisdom. Don't fall victim to peer pressure and settle for a mate that isn't right for you. Didn't find my wife until I was almost 30, and it was totally worth waiting for the right one to come along. My 85-year-old grandparents openly told me this, and that if they could do it all again, they would have gotten a divorce. They fell out of love very quickly and are basically friends/roommates living together for the past 40+ years. This isn't even so bad considering some people stay married to people they hate or don't get along with. The peer pressure/fear of what would people say/stay for the kids was bigger. Choose your mate wisely. It should feel like you are spending every day with your best friend that you have fun with. Don't do it for money or looks, you will be miserable. Don't get too much sun, drink too much past early 20s, or smoke. That will age you quickly. Invest in good skincare. Don't fall into the debt trap. Make yourself listen to Dave Ramsey on it and understand it's better to have $1 million by 50 than a fancy car today with the same amount of money put aside. Eat more veggies and fruit and less meat and dairy through the week. Your body will thank you. I'm 51 but feel like I never left my 30s and went back to school at 39 and started my second life. There is always a day to say I'm reinventing myself. I'm about to do it again. Also lastly, cut our BS friends and family. No time for users, abusers, or anyone who takes more than they give constantly or verbally demeans you. They will never stop, and you will never miss them. Learn to say no now. Set boundaries if this is a problem for you and you resent always saying yes and being the nice person for jerks. Read boundaries, when to say yes and how to say no. It will be life changing because stress is also a killer. That's my just woke up in bed brainstorming stream of consciousness. Must go find coffee now. Stop ducking worrying about what people think. Wear sunscreen. Moisturize your skin. Do not go to tanning salons. I'm a dude that wear sunscreen song came out when I was in high school and I took that chiz to heart, and now I'm wrinkle free in my late 30s. Move out of your parents' home so they can also be 40+ and happy with their lives. A lot of parents hate when their kids move out. They don't know what to do with themselves and feel less valued. I've experienced this more. Save your money. I wish I could have back the thousands of dollars I threw in the fire partying at clubs. This advice hit me hard. Instead of partying in college, my aunt saved her money and retired in her late 30s. Now she just does missionary work and has visited over 100 countries. Wish my parents were as educated and made similar decisions. Choose a spouse based on this. 80% their moral compass, 10% how much you laugh together, 5% your similar hobbies, and 5% your physical attraction. Why only 5% physical attraction? Just curious. You are never too old or too deep into something to just start over. If you aren't happy, do something else. I've read about people taking up marathons at 50. For me, every day is potential for a new start. Don't like how I felt yesterday? Then I guess I'm doing something different today. I'm 50 now. So much left to do, and so much time to do it. After high school graduation, get some sort of job, education, or training. Even the crappiest, entry-level job is better than no job, or being on assistance. Plus, when you're working or going to school, you're not spending money, or getting into trouble. You don't have to go to college right out of high school, especially if you have no idea what you want to study. Actually go to work/school, no matter how early you have to get up, how much it sucks, or how much of a jerk your boss is. Work leads to opportunities for better jobs. Most every job I've had has been the result of knowing someone I met on a previous job who put in a good word for me. Don't have kids before you get married. Don't put yourself in situations where you might end up with kids before you get married. Don't get married until you're at least 21. Marry someone who shares your values and not just someone who is really hot and fun. Looks fade, but character stays pretty much the same. If you have a pay-in for something in college and it has good employment prospects, then go to college, but do not get a student loan, no matter how tempting. Work, apply for grants and scholarships, whatever, but do not get into debt. If that means holding off on college a few years so you can save up, so be it. You don't have to go to a traditional 4-year university. Go into a trade or the military. College is still always an option later. Live below your means and be sure to pay yourself first. Put some amount of money away every month/pay period into an account you can't get to easily, then live off the rest. That may make for a pretty meager existence for a while, but you will be surprised at what you can get used to, especially if you remind yourself this is temporary and greater things are to come. Down the road, when you have some money saved up, invest it wisely. Don't expect to get rich quick. It's a slow build, but the wait is worth it. Talk to an advisor or an actual wealthy person for advice, not your buddy who found a sure thing. Don't buy stuff just to fulfill yourself or to impress those around you. After a while, too much stuff begins to own you, instead of the other way around. If you have the money to spare, buy experiences, vacations, trips, whatever. They don't take up in space, and the memories stay with you forever. The only debt you should ever take on is a reasonable fixed rate mortgage, preferably a 15-year, but a 30-year that you refinance later is okay too. Don't even go into debt for a car. Save your money and buy a decent used model. Learn to cook and maintain your house and your own vehicles. Be patient. It takes time and effort to build a comfortable life, but it's worth it. I think nowadays it's near impossible to go to a 4-year university without going into debt. And, these days most any job that isn't technical requires a bachelor's degree. If you aren't interested in learning a technical skill, your only real option is a bachelor's. And, unless your family is helping you out enormously, you will go into debt. I went to state school, family helped out a lot, I got a lot of grants and scholarships. 4.0 GPA, top 3% of my class, graduated with 30k, got a white collar office job paying mid-figures out of school. I'll be able to pay off my debt in a few years. Would absolutely never ever consider trading that degree for my 30k back. I would have zero access to the career path I'm on now. And, I was an English major. I think the landscape is changing. And while it's admirable to not have debt, educational debt is becoming something most people simply must acquire to have any shot at working outside the service industry. Technical PPL excluded. Don't buy new cars. Don't buy that house with an extra room. Don't buy anything until you have an emergency fund saved up. None of those things feel as good as not worrying about money feels. 3-bedroom house isn't necessary. An emergency fund is necessary. If you can't afford the house and the emergency fund, that doesn't mean you can't afford the emergency fund. It means you can't afford the house. Emergency fund is non-negotiable. I've been struggling because I now realize my parents don't have an emergency fund, but they have more in investments and it's worth a lot of money if sold, but no liquid cash. This becomes tricky because in times like this, eats don't help much because you can't use them to buy daily stuff. I have some money saved up and I've refused to say anything/offer it up because I realize we have basic necessities met and it's not like my family is starving or anything. my parents would just use the extra money for business investment. I feel bad that I have the money they want for extra investment, but if I give it up, then I have no money for my emergency fund. Absolutely. I graduate college next weekend and will start the job hunt. I've just always been a saver, and now I find myself feeling guilty because I have money but won't give it up to my parents because it's my emergency fund. Would you say this is a valid reason to keep money in my emergency fund? Like not give it up to my parents in this case? If you haven't started some investment for the future, now is the time. Man, seeing that kind of advice being from a third world country feels bad. I don't know in what could I invest here. Wear sunscreen. If I could offer you only one tip for the future, sunscreen would be it. The long-term benefits of sunscreen have been proved by scientists, whereas the rest of my advice has no basis more reliable than my own meandering experience. I will dispense this advice now. Enjoy the power and beauty of your youth. Oh, never mind. You will not understand the power and beauty of your youth until they've faded. But trust me, in 20 years, you'll look back at photos of yourself and recall in a way you can't grasp now how much possibility lay before you and how fabulous you really looked. You are not as fat as you imagine. Don't worry about the future. Or worry, but know that worrying is as effective as trying to solve an algebra equation by chewing bubble gum. The real troubles in your life are apt to be things that never crossed your worried mind, the kind that blindside you at 4 p.m. on some Michael Tuesday. Do one thing every day that scares you. Sing. Don't be reckless with other people's hearts. Don't put up with people who are reckless with yours. Floss. Don't waste your time on jealousy. Sometimes you're ahead, sometimes you're behind. The race is long, and, in the end, it's only with yourself. Remember compliments you receive. Forget the insults. If you succeed in doing this, tell me how. Keep your old love letters. Throw away your old bank statements. Stretch. Don't feel guilty if you don't know what you want to do with your life. The most interesting people I know didn't know at 22 what they wanted to do with their lives. Some of the most interesting 40-year-olds I know still don't. Get plenty of calcium. Be kind to your knees. You'll miss them when they're gone. Maybe you'll marry, maybe you won't. Maybe you'll have children, maybe you won't. Maybe you'll divorce at 40. Maybe you'll dance the funky chicken on your 75th wedding anniversary. Whatever you do, don't congratulate yourself too much or berate yourself either. Your choices are half chance. So are everybody else's. Enjoy your body. Use it every way you can. Don't be afraid of it or of what other people think of it. It's the greatest instrument you'll ever own. Dance, even if you have nowhere to do it but your living room. Read the directions, even if you don't follow them. Do not read beauty magazines. They will only make you feel ugly. Get to know your parents. You never know when they'll be gone for good. Be nice to your siblings. They're your best link to your past and the people most likely to stick with you in the future. Understand that friends come and go, but with the precious few you should hold on. Work hard to bridge the gaps in geography and lifestyle, because the older you get, the more you need the people who knew you when you were young. Live in New York City once, but leave before it makes you hard. Live in Northern California once, but leave before it makes you soft. Travel. Accept certain unalienable truths. Prices will rise. Politicians will philander. You too will get old. And when you do, you'll fantasize that, when you were young, prices were reasonable, politicians were noble and children respected their elders. Respect your elders. Don't expect anyone else to support you. Maybe you have a trust fund. Maybe you'll have a wealthy spouse. But you never know when either one might run out. Don't mess too much with your hair, or by the time you're 40 it will look 85. Be careful whose advice you buy, but be patient with those who supply it. Advice is a form of nostalgia. Dispensing it is a way of fishing the past from the disposal, wiping it off, painting over the ugly parts, and recycling it for more than it's worth. But trust me on the sunscreen. Edit. Source for the people under 40. Have lots and lots of sex. I'll try my best. Find yourself a good person to be in a relationship with. Looks will fade, but that personality will be there forever. As you age your friends will pair off, and you will find yourself hanging out with them less and less. they will have kids or move away, and you will find yourself either alone or with your partner during 99% of your free time. Humans do not do well being isolated and alone. Finding a healthy relationship is so important and no one really talks about it or just tells you to focus on your career. Having someone in your corner that always has your back will make life that much easier. Find someone with the same goals in life that you do and hold on to them hard. Marry a brain, not a booty. You don't have to have kids and buy a minivan and live that life. It's totally fine if you don't. You might even be happier and a lot wealthier in the end. You're not weird or broken because you want to live a less normal life. A lot of us do it. You just don't see us marketed to on TV. Make decisions for yourself. Don't ignore the long-term ambitions for short-term fun, but definitely don't live the life that someone else wants you to live. Every dollar you save and invest in your 20s is worth a hell of a lot more than the ones in your 30s, 40s, and so on. If you are going to spend money, spend it creating experiences with yourself and other people. It's almost been kind of a cliche thing for the latest generation that you should only spend on experiences, but I don't give a duck about the sound system or computer I had 15 years ago. I do care about the friends that were made. I'm not yet 40, but I have some ideas. Go on that adventure you want to do. Don't do anything that will put you in jail. Don't do anything that will lead to a baby until you've given yourself time to be an adult for a while. Don't stick your ick in crazy / don't let crazy stick it in you. If you must, double up on that birth control and make sure you control one of those methods yourself. Don't spend on credit what you don't have close to that amount saved in the bank to pay it off. Keep your daily expenses low to save for that adventure. Network and don't burn bridges. Stay neutral to toxic people, but keep them at a distance. Allow your actions to define you, not your words. Do everything you say you will in a timely fashion, and do it well, and you'll be viewed as reliable and it'll secure your friendships and career. If you're suffering from mental illness, don't blast it on social media. Go get help. Don't sign the lease with your partner unless you've been with them for a year. Don't sign a lease or buy a house with your partner unless you can afford to pay for it all on your own. Life is a marathon, not a sprint. Run accordingly. I have shin splints. Do some exercise. Stay out of debt. Learn people's names. It's a good habit and you never know where it might lead. I got lost in a third world country, but remembered the son of the guy who owned the hostel was called Pan. Picked up by someone who called someone who knew him. Without having chatted to him and learned his name, I'd still have made it back, but it would have been way more difficult. Travel and be okay with having the confidence to just live out of your backpack and see where things take you. It really prepares you for later life. Over 2 years I was lost in the jungle, swam between tropical islands, run over hot coals, slept in weird places, worked some crazy jobs, and hitchhiked around Asia with a buddy, and it makes you very resilient and good at seeing solutions in difficult times once you're older. Find a hobby and meet with people who share it in real life, not online. Don't argue politics or religion with those you love. Neither is arrived to from a place of reason. Love is not often reciprocated. When it happens, don't waste it. If it is not reciprocated, then move on. Exercise every day, at least 30 minutes, and don't overeat. It almost destroyed me in my 50s, as this is the one thing on the list here that I did not do. Save 10% of everything you earn starting today. Before you spend it, put 10% away into a savings account you can't easily get access to in a single day. Use a 401k or other savings vehicle if you have that access. Save for the things you want. Don't go into debt except for very large items, a house, etc. If you buy a car, get a used one. If you want a new one, plan on driving it for 200k miles and pay it off quickly, or finance it at 0%. Save to buy it. Don't just decide to buy it. You are in charge of your happiness. Don't let guilt or obligation tie you to an unhappy situation. Remember, through struggle and happiness are different. You can happily struggle if you have goals, even if that goal is saving $1,000 for a beat up car to drive. A lot of people get their future planning priorities wrong in their 20s. Generally I've found people in their 20s prioritize job, relationship, place to live / lifestyle. Really, the people I've found are happiest in their life have done their planning in the opposite direction. Place to live / lifestyle, relationship, job. This might seem a bit weird, but hear me out. A job isn't any good if you have to live in a place or a lifestyle you hate or not be able to have the relationship you want just to have it. No amount of money will make up for being miserable. Likewise, a relationship might be great, but if you are living a lifestyle that makes you unhappy, then it will put strain on the relationship and will ultimately make you unhappy. Figure out what kind of life you want and make that the basis of your other planning for the future. Whether that's a fast-paced downtown city lifestyle or a slow country lifestyle or a comfortable suburban lifestyle, living the way you want will give you a strong foundation for happiness. I'm 31. This hits the nail on the head. I feel like the full force of this realization hits you in your 30s. In your 20s, things are in flux. You're in and out of school, exploring new places and careers, and getting your first taste of real independence. In your 30s, you are really in the grind of work in a way that your 20-something self thought they understood but didn't. When you've been in an 8-hour-a-day job, 5 days a week, for 5+ years, and oh yeah, there are about 40 more ahead of you, your perspective starts to change. I'm in a career that, for many people, is a dream job. And guess what? I'm miserable. I'm homesick for my hometown, which has no jobs in my field. I'm stuck in an apartment because I'm trapped in a city where I know I'll never want to settle down. My few friends are scattered to the winds. I really wish I'd thought more about where I wanted to live and what I wanted my life to look like before I chose a career. It is obviously possible to change careers in your 30s and 40s. It just gets harder. Read more, watch less. It's not what you read or watch, it's the quality of the information. TED Talks are good to watch. Celebrity gossip blogs are cheers to read. People who are 60+ and happy with their life. What is your advice to people in their 40s? Enjoy your 20s. Travel. Party. Don't have a child or get married too early. Know that there will be a time where you do care about your future and think of a plan. Also know that it's much easier to go back to school in your 20s. Even at 28, 29. Gets tougher after that. Community colleges are fine. Trades are definitely fine. Big one. Maintain your relationships with your friends, families, and activities. Don't waste money on material things. Never rely on your kids to make you happy. They will have to move on to their lives. Plan accordingly. If you drink alcohol and think you could stop and forget about it, prove it. Stop for 3 months or 6 months. It's not like alcohol is going to disappear. If your brain keeps reminding you to have a drink, then you need to be aware of the situation. Know your worth and your potential. Save, save, save. Don't put up with abusive, toxic people. Marry someone you like hanging out with. I'm just turning 30, but this is so important. I married my best friend when I was 20, and it was the best decision of my life because I believe we did it for the right reasons. This quarantine has been a blessing in disguise because now I get to work from home and get to be around my hubby all day, and we couldn't be happier. We aren't getting on each other's nerves or fighting. The fact that I hope I get to continue working from home at least part of the time when this is over shows me I made the right decision with him. Forgive everyone for everything, forever. This doesn't mean stay friends with people who betray or belittle you, but simply understand that they had their reasons and move on. Holding on to grudges will make you a small, bitter person. Let all that anger go on with your life. And exercise, stay out of debt, end relationships when the cost/benefit ratio gets out of whack. It hurts, but you'll both be fine. Read books, learn new skills, laugh. Try to surround yourself with positive people that motivate you to grow as a person. For me, at least, there is no grown-up endgame. I'm a 48-year-old father of 6 and grandfather of 3, and I'm continually learning how to become a better, more mature person. Strive for a small and simple life. The larger and more complicated you allow it to become, the harder it is to reach contentment. Contentment is the goal, not happiness. Stack that paper. I'm in my 40s, and if I had been smarter with money, even putting it in an index fund, I could have retired by now. I don't regret buying the Porsche, but I didn't need to spend $20+ a day eating out, and the same amount or more on drugs, just on a Monday. For 2 decades. I didn't need the $2,000 a month apartment in a trendy neighborhood where I lived in my 30s. I'm still happy because the rest of my life is great, but financial freedom, while I'm still relatively healthy, would be heaven. I'm only 32, but I would say stop caring what others think of you. Do what makes you happy and just be you. Once I learned this, I had a lot less issues in my life. Partying/drinking has a time and place, and it is not every day. Why go off on a great adventure in an amazing place if you are just going to spend all your time getting drunk? You won't remember as much as you could. Pictures are great, but memories are better. Save, save, save. It doesn't matter so much what you do for a living if you don't have to live paycheck to paycheck. I think what is going on now is proving this more than ever. Inspect all you have been told, discard that which offends your soul. W. Whitman. Be honest. Love deeply. Know thyself. Welcome each moment with gratitude. If you aren't sure you want kids, make sure you are sure before you have them. I dodged a couple of bullets over the years and don't have any kids. I see and hear all the crap other people have to go through, and I don't think I could handle that level of stress in my life. I'm very glad to be childless. Of course some people love kids and should have lots of them. That's just not me, and it might not be you too. Calm the duck down. Seriously, I panicked my way through my 20s. When shit goes wrong, stay calm and think logically. Act like the person you want to be. Start saving for retirement now, even if here's $25, $50 a month. I'll give a bit of relationship advice. I had the most success with dating when I didn't force it. I was in a good place in my life and went on dates and met people because it was fun, not because I was looking for a relationship. The times I felt lonely and intentionally seeking a relationship were the least successful times. I'm sure I came across as lonely and needy, which isn't a good combination. Be yourself, make peace with who you are, and focus on being your best self. You'll have much more luck finding someone who wants you to be that best self. Oh, and avoid narcissists, controlling personalities. Set boundaries for yourself. Your mental health is worth it. Trust me. There's a direct link between financial security and happiness. Always save money. Keep healthy, study/work hard. 1. Make more than enough to pay your bills and live how you want to. Duck that just follow your bliss crap. I know too many actors and artists who are miserable and overstressed because they are broke. Instead, go into a field that pays better and have hobbies that are blissful. 2. See the world and meet people from all over. Don't wait. You don't know what will happen to the place or yourself. Meeting people from elsewhere teaches that there really are many ways to skin a cat, and differences are fun. 3. Have friends and acquaintances of different ages. There is wisdom on both sides. Besides, at 54, you might enjoy babysitting your neighbor's kids. 4. And I didn't do this one. Don't get fat. It is very hard to lose it. Get out of that creepy cult while you are young. Live your life free of your parents' cult. I was raised in the Mormon cult. Hold off on having kids. Invest in yourself. Formal education or some kind of training to perfect whatever it is you are going to call your craft. Understand the difference between needs and wants. Spend the minimal on the first and forego the second. Save then pay cash. Stop using credit cards or financing options because you don't have the patience to wait a few months or a year to get a new something. Don't feel the need to have the newest, best, brightest whatever. Buy the $30 jeans rather than the $80 jeans. Your real friends won't care about what you wear. Separate yourself from toxic people or friends that are not on that path to better themselves. When given the choice between being right and being kind, always choose kind. Oh my, you watched until the end? That's fucking awesome, dude. Thanks for watching.